In this video, I'm going to flip through my Erin Condren Monthly Planner to show you how I used it functionally in the month of December. I've also got my Erin Condren Vertical LifePlanner here, and we'll talk about that one as well. Hi, I'm Kristen, and I post functional planning videos on my channel a few times a week. If you're like me and you need a gentle reminder to just keep it simple, please make sure you're subscribed, and I'll be right back. So this Vertical Life Planner that I don't normally use, you don't normally see it on my channel, I've just been using it as like a content planner, and I thought I would show you just a couple of things. It's not really that exciting or anything, but I just thought I would show it to you in case you were curious. So what I like to do in my monthly flip through video is just talk about how I used my planner functionally, what I liked about how I used it, what I didn't like about how I used it, like what worked and what didn't, and if I'm going to change anything going forward. So this is my monthly planner, and this is my catch-all planner. This is where I keep all the plans, like all the lists, all the plans and everything. And I do wish that I could only just use the one planner, but like I said, I have like the content planner here, and that's just how it has to be, and that's fine, and I'm learning to be okay with that. And then I've also added in the Cultivate What Matters power sheets, and that is not really a planner to me. That's more of just like a guided journal or a guided notebook to help me figure out what it is I want to be focusing on, and then all of that stuff goes in here. But so that's kind of how it's going to change in January, is when those power sheets start. I will have that like third book. But let's just look now at December and see how I used it functionally and what I would change. So I remember saying that I wish that this was more Christmassy looking. I do like the monochrome style. That's what I normally do in my planner, is I normally have like the monochrome look, and I do like that. But I think for the fall months, October, November, December, I really want to do more seasonal things. And I think I mentioned this in the previous flip through video. I think I actually might buy a sticker kit if there's a cute one that I like, to make whatever design that's in my planner look a little more seasonal. I just like that. It brings me a little bit of joy. I don't need to do that every month. I normally like all of the stuff that's in the planner, but I think for fun, like holiday time, I think I'm going to do that differently. I think I changed something from the plan with me. I think I changed and added this like strip of washi here, and it's just to indicate that it was winter break. And I still like everything that I've done here. I just have my typical stickers. I've learned that I really like these Planner Kate they're the skinny appointment labels. They're the V5, and then the mini time labels V34 just fit perfectly on there, and I love that. And so I'm phasing out these ones that are the labels that have things like written on them already. I'm phasing those out. I'm using up what I have, but I will think I'm just going to use these skinny labels and time labels going forward, just from now on. So yeah, and I still really like using the BW icons everywhere. It's really been helpful to kind of clean up my monthly spread and make it look nice and neat. And it's just things that the icons are meant to remind me of a recurring task, and that's been working really well. So over here I have my to-do list for the month, and then I added a little section here for school because there was a lot of testing going on at the end of the semester, and I just needed to keep track of all of his tests. And yeah, this works just like it always has. And I did figure out the past few months I haven't been doing my this little monthly reset, and that's like the first stuff I want to do in my to-do list on the month. And so I like these Planner Kate. It's like a half box checklist, and I'm going to use those from now on, I think, over here, just to indicate that these are monthly reset items. So anyway, that's that, and I really liked it, and I don't want to change anything except for, you know, maybe making it a little more festive next year. And then here is my dashboard spread, and I didn't use this at all this month. So I did make my usual monthly menu plan, But I will say that like halfway through the month, it did kind of fall off and we didn't make a lot of these things. And a lot of that had to do with just me wanting to use up more things from my freezer. We were given some meats, and it was just like one of those things that the stuff that I had planned ahead of time just didn't really work out based on different circumstances. And that's another important thing that I want to note with monthly menu planning, is that this is not set in stone. The purpose of planning it for the month is that I already have a menu for the week so that I don't have to plan that every week. I can sit down and look at this. It's already planned, and all I have to do is make the grocery list and order the groceries. And that takes out a lot of that mental stress and mental energy, just the mental load of having to plan a menu every single week. And so these last 3 weeks here, we only made a handful of these things, and that's okay. And I don't buy the ingredients for most of it early enough that it would go to waste if our plans changed. So it still works. I'm still going to do it. And I just wanted to note that's just because I have it planned for the month doesn't mean we have to eat this meal on this night. Okay? And then over here I had some little projects that I had. I broke out my snowman quilt into a project again, and I still didn't work on that. And I talked about that a lot in my Power Sheets prep work video. I can link that up there about like what's going on with that and everything. And then I did do my prep work, so I can check that off. I never did pull out any habits to work on, but this is where I used the dashboard kit for the plum paper planner, and that habit tracker fit a lot better on this little section of the monthly dashboard to cover up their kind of like not super functional habit tracker. And so I do still like that, and I do still think that if I did want to track habits here, that I might purchase that page in order to do that. My tending list in my Power Sheets has a monthly habit tracker, and that's what I intend to use. So I probably won't be using this space for habit tracking in the future, but you never know how things might change. I didn't write anything up here. I was thinking I was going to write a cute like December Christmas related quote there. I never used this shopping list, and I didn't need to write anything there. I could have written those school things there probably, but I ended up just writing them on the sidebar there. This was a gift list, or a gift ideas list, and I didn't end up getting any of these things. Oh, I got this for my kid. But I ended up just going and putting a bunch of stuff in the Amazon cart, and I didn't need this anymore. And we got all of that stuff. But I'll just go ahead and leave this here. And then I didn't write anything here. This was just a sticky note I had in my old planner about planning out 2024. So then when I moved into this planner, halfway through the year, I just put it in here, and I didn't end up needing it. And I had set aside these 2 pages to use for project pages. If you've seen the video I did for the 25 days of planner tips with the paper and pen girl, I did a how to plan projects in your like everyday planner. And I had intended to use these pages in that video to make some examples, but instead I ended up just going through all of the project pages I already had, just to talk about different ways you could use them. And I feel like that worked out a little bit better because they were already done, so I would have like a way to talk about what worked and what didn't with those. And so these I set aside for that and then didn't use them. So then we get into the weekly planning. This was week 49, week 50, 51, and 52. So I did the same, my usual like weeks layout that I really love. This was my favorite because it looked like exactly how I envisioned it. I really liked using the dot markers as the like the Christmas lights up here. I love how the like candy cane stripes turned out. I like how fun and bright it was. And I think this was kind of the look that I was thinking of when I was thinking of the December, like adding more Christmassy elements to it. So I had here, this was prep week to do my Cultivate What Matters prep work in my power sheets. And I had just listed out what each day that they had kind of like broken out or set aside that you could do each day. And I used that checklist and checked everything off. And then most of this other stuff I checked off as well. And then I have a note here saying that this one last item, I did start it, but it just didn't work out. It was a disaster. I was trying to cut my word of the year in vinyl from my Cricut, and it just didn't work. The vinyl I had was just, I don't know, I couldn't weed it. I needed to do something else. So I wrote myself a note to either get different vinyl or do it like print and cut style. And then over here, I just didn't decorate it at all. And I still did the same thing I always do. I wrote out everything that I was like needing to be aware of as far as like time and specific scheduled days. And then my list over here, I checked off everything on this list. And yeah, I did everything. And that's always like a really good feeling, is when you get everything done and it all works out. And then I have a note here for myself to, I had some plants that I wanted to move and water. And so these plants were the plants that hang at my front door. I have 2 hanging plants, and then I have 2 big urns that I have like ferns in, and it's getting cold and I needed to bring them inside, which I had done, but then I just kind of left them sitting in our living room, and I needed to move them. I needed to clean up all the bits that fall off of them and everything. I needed to water them, and I needed to like cut some parts off of them that had grown like gangly and everything, and just to get them ready for just like a more dormant time period until it gets warm and they go back outside. Anyway, I had been dreading it. I was like, every day I would look at it and just be like, I am not going to do that right now. I'm not going to do that right now. It's too much of an ordeal. But once I did it, it only took 10 minutes. Including cleanup. And I was like, I need to write this down and remember that the biggest things that I'm dreading the most, that I look at every day and then just ignore and decide that I don't have time, most of that stuff doesn't take a very long time, like at all. And I need to remember that. So I have learned from that I might, in the future, when there's projects or just tasks that I'm not excited about doing, when I do them, I want to set a timer and see how long it actually, or a stopwatch, I guess, and see how long it actually takes, just so I can prove to myself that it's not as big of an ordeal as my brain is making it out to be. And then maybe that'll help me in the future just do the things, and just get them done and cross off the list. Anyhow, so that's what I learned there. This one I really liked because I love this washi. This came from Cultivate What Matters. And I just love this print. I wish they had more products with this print, but I think right now they just have this washi. They have a monthly calendar, like a monthly planner, like booklet style planner. And then they have a little lined notebook, which I have the notebook. And I think they use this on the cover of their sticker book too. And I have that sticker book, but this is really this washi, I'm gonna use it all the time. So get used to it. Get used to seeing it on the channel. So this was week 51. This was the week leading up to Christmas, and I was trying to get a lot of work done this week. And this is the week that we'll talk about in my Vertical Life Planner that I keep track of my work stuff in. So it's very like calm and there's nothing going on here, but that's because it's all in the other planner. And I had decided not to make cookies, so I crossed it off the list. We still had so many cookies left from the last couple of times I made cookies for Christmas, and we just didn't want any more. In fact, I actually need to go throw a bunch away that have gotten like kind of old and stale and nobody wants to eat them. So I didn't do a car wash that week because I kept putting it off. And then when I was like actually able to go and run some errands, it was rainy. And so that's always just one of those things where I just don't care. I want it on my list because I do need to remember to take care of the car, but I also don't really care that much. And so it gets put on the list and it gets ignored very, very often. I did end up finishing that vinyl and then just the usual groceries and stuff. And yeah, it works. So the other thing I remember figuring out was that with my cleaning checklist, I'm going to start putting a dot when I have started a cleaning task but didn't finish it, and then that way I can see that I did make some progress. I just didn't finish like the whole thing. So that was something I figured out that I'm going to start doing. And then in that discussion, I think we talked about it in one of the Plan With Me videos, and some commenters pointed out that they like to do like the X one way, like the first part of the X to indicate they've started it, and then they finish the X when they finished it. And I used to do that. I used to do that a long time ago, and I've stopped. And then the people that commented that, it reminded me that I used to do that. So I don't know, I might try to get back into that, but I do love seeing a check mark. There's just something about a check mark that is satisfying, and then something about an X to me makes me feel like it didn't happen. I don't know, I'm gonna try out the X system in my work planner, and I'm just gonna kind of see what I like better. So then week 52, and that's actually the week we are in. I am filming this a little bit early, but it is the final week. I didn't like how this one turned out. I really loved using the stamps, and I do want to use the stamps in the future to do my dates down the side, but I didn't like how I used the markers, the Erin Condren dual tip markers over here. I didn't like that, and it looks a little bit messy, and I'm not going to do that again. But I do want to use the stamps, and it's these little alphabet stamps here that I used. And then instead of using a stamp pad, like the inking pads for stamps, I just colored the stamps with my Erin Condren dual tip markers, and that I will definitely do again. They didn't bleed through the paper. What did bleed through the paper was using the markers directly on the paper. So even though those are Erin Condren dual tip markers, it did soak through. I don't think it did when I first did it, but you can see there that it has soaked through, but not the part where I stamped. So I think using them for stamps is going to work, but I need to be careful if I'm going to draw with them. So this is the current week that I'm actually in right now, and I haven't even done any of this stuff yet, so none of that is checked off. But I don't imagine it is going to be any different than what I've done so far this month. And then I have these 3 pages left over that I didn't even use. So there were the 2, if you remember, the 2 at the beginning for the project pages, and then these 2 here, and then this last one that I didn't use. So I still have 5 pages that I could do different things with. So that's just something that I need to remember, and I need to think about, because one of the other things I talked about in a recent video, and that was my 2024 planner stack video, and I'll link that up there as well, was that in the future, when this planner ends in July and I order a new one, I'm not going to include the notes pages in the back, because I don't ever look back here. The only time I look back here is when I'm looking for my Formula One schedule, and I'm thinking I might move that elsewhere in the planner, and we'll talk about that later once I figure out the logistics of that. I have some ideas, but I need to just kind of like experiment. So I don't know, none of these other pages I ever used, and that's something I do want to go back and like update some of these pages. But you can see I never, after I put these in here, I never come back and update them. I haven't updated this since July, and we're at the end of December. So I need to do something different. I do like these, and I do want to update them. I do want to kind of keep track of stuff like this, but I don't know that being in the back of the planner is the best place for them. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really sure. We'll see. That might be something that I can use the that 12 boxes page for, which currently right now still has goals from like Q2 on it when I used to use it as like a Kanban board. So I do need to clean this off. Luckily, I can just pull these repositionable stickers off and still just use this page for something. So look out for a video like that soon. I will probably update this and these pages as well. So, because I'm staying in this planner through the end of July, whenever it runs out. I plan on staying in the same planner for 2024. So that is how I used my Erin Condren Monthly Planner functionally. Now let's talk about my Erin Condren Life Planner. This planner was gifted to me by Erin Condren at an event, and it's a vertical layout life planner in the Inspire design. And I actually pulled some pages out of this. I believe it was an 18-month planner to begin with, but I ripped all the pages out up until when I started trying to use it in November. So let's talk about December here. I just wrote things down with pen on here, and then I didn't use these pages. I thought I was going to use this for some brand work, and I didn't. And then I started to try to figure out how to use it. And I kind of just used it really at first as a way to just kind of get what I wanted to work on, like out on paper, just out of my head, I guess you could say, and just kind of like more like a brain dump in a way, but like a day specific brain dump. So I did it kind of like that, but didn't actually really go back and look at it. And then I was just marking things that I knew were going to happen. This week I didn't use it at all. Now this is the week, this was week 51, and this was the week that I really used this thing, and I really got to kind of see how I could use this or this style. It really helped me understand how I can use my 2024 work planner like really well. And this is how I want to see my work planner. It's all messy, it's all scratched out, but it's all very functional. And what I did was all this highlighted stuff wasn't highlighted to begin with. That was just after that day. Like I had written it there to plan that I wanted to do it that day. But then when the next day happened and that still didn't get done, I just highlighted whatever wasn't done yet so that I could remember that that was still an open task. And it kind of worked. Like it doesn't look like very organized. It looks very scribbled and very, I don't know, just messy, but it really did work for me. And so that's how I'm going to use it from now on, I think. So it's helped me realize that I do want an hourly layout so that I can actually time block and figure out I have this much time, and so here's what I can work on realistically, and not just make a giant list and then just expect to get that all done on the day that I wrote the list on. So that's kind of like, that helped me figure out going forward, I'm going to be using this Cultivate What Matters season by season weekly planner, and it's an hourly, like a hourly vertical layout, and so I can do the same stuff in that, but it'll just be within the time constraints that I have to work each day. And then on the weekends, I don't tend to work unless I'm really trying to play catch up. And so I used that as just a big to-do list for some of these other things that I couldn't fit everything in one list. And I really liked how that worked. And then here is just, I started the following week to kind of start getting stuff out, but this is also the week of Christmas, so of course there's nothing that day. And then the day after Christmas, we weren't really working, and then so then there's some other tasks and things and events going on, and that's just kind of how it is. So I mean, I'm still just using it functionally. I like it. I don't like the 3 boxes. I don't like the lines across. I do just kind of like having the to-do list for each day, and then a space to know that there's something happening that day. So that's why I think the hourly is going to work really well, because on the hours where I don't work, I can use that space for to-do lists and things. And then I can block out in the hours that I do work, these are the types of tasks I want to be working on each hour or whatever. So hopefully in the future I will be able to show you that in the other planner. But I just wanted to show you that this time, just so you could kind of see in case you were curious. But that is how I used my Erin Condren planners functionally in the month of December. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, please consider subscribing, because I post functional planning videos like this on my channel a few times a week. And if you liked this one, you're probably gonna like those ones too. And I would love to see you in the next one. Until then, embrace your imperfections and just be you. Bye.